Just think of it as the rough draft of the podcast world. This is the Newbie Writers Podcast with your hosts, Damian Boat and Catherine Bramkamp.
Hey, this is episode 169 of the Newbie Writers Podcast. And Catherine is off her deathbed, thankfully, because it'd be another week otherwise.
Yeah, just barely, but I'm here because we have such a great guest. I wanted to be here for our guest.
Yeah, and it's the first time that we're doing this show just riddled with drugs, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what we're going for. No, I'll take the drugs afterwards. I did not take any codeine, cough medicine beforehand.
That'd be pretty funny, though, if you had, and then it kicked in, and you'd be just like, so we talk about...
Exactly. Or I could have... some weird ideas just because it's like, wow, look at that. It's shiny. It would have been the slow show.
Yeah. Hey, look, that has happened to me once before. I was on a Skype chat playing a game with someone. It was a team match, and he fell asleep.
Oh, no.
So his character stopped moving, like, hey, what's going on? Oh, sorry. I think I should go to bed. I'm like, it's 8 o'clock. Yeah. Red wine. Anyway, it's good. It's good that you're better. So there's no point in me asking what have you done in the past 2 weeks. Coughing.
No, but I did read. I read Wool, which is the science fiction book by Hugh
Howey.
Thank you for knowing that. By Hugh Howey. And my son sent it to me, and he sent it as a birthday gift. So I read it on my birthday, which was wonderful. I really enjoyed it. But of course, that's not, I wrote it back. I said, this is like the most famous book of the year. And he didn't know why it was the most famous book of the year. So I had to explain to him. It says, because this author's not sold only his hard copy rights to Simon & Schuster and kept his email rights, his ebook rights, unprecedented, first time ever. And so I'm sure that my kid's looking at his text like, really? I just thought it was an interesting story.
Yeah, I'm with him on that one. When you said
I'm all over this, it's like, wow, this is great. He said, I just sent it to you because I got a download free. First half of the book was free download. So the kid downloads it, reads it, likes it, buys the second half, and then buys the hard copy for me. So there you go. That's how that works. So everybody give your stuff away for free initially. That's what millennials are doing.
I agree. But when you said you read Wool, I thought, how high were you on codeine?
Yeah, really high.
Warm wash.
Slides. It's fascinating.
Anyway, we've also got Beth Barany on. Hello, Beth. You're almost like the backup co-host for this show. You've been on a number of times.
That's right. You just slip me right in there.
I know. I don't really need to introduce you anymore. Like, that third voice is Beth. Come on.
There's always those newbies out there who've never heard of me.
Yes.
That's
Newbies
possible.
never ending. So yes, I don't know. I did get your copy of the next Future Girls book, Catherine, but I haven't read it yet.
Okay. Good.
I've read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Beth read it.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think?
Are we talking about book 2 or book 3?
Book 3.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's great. It's haunting. I want more. I make it bigger.
Haunting.
Make it bigger. Okay.
Yeah, make it longer.
It sounds like a Daft Punk song.
Make it longer.
No, that sounds like the emails that I get occasionally. The haunting. How's it haunting? I don't want you to give anything away. I'm just trying to, I don't know, get my head around it.
Oh, you won't because it's just in beta reader format at this point.
Mm-hmm. So is it haunting as in, oh no, you've got so much to do? No, it's fine. Anyway, have we lost Beth?
No, it's good.
Oh.
No, I'm here. It's good. It's really a wonderful extension of the first 2 books, and I want more. What can I say?
Thanks. Great.
Right. So then
That's good.
the question for Catherine then is, if you finish this one, do you have more in store then, like, to carry it on? You're sort of creating this universe now. You're sort of well down that path.
Well, remember when some people who will remain nameless but who were on the show said, I need to go back and figure out how we created time travel to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started thinking about it a little bit, and I have a character who I introduced in this third book.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I also included her in the second book because I was doing the beta version of Future Run, which is this third book, while I was doing the final edits for Future Gold. So I was able to fix a name. So there's a girl at the Time Cult. So I have Jordan, Gaia, and Avery. And so I thought, all right, for the fourth book, I could tell Avery's story since I've given readers, their names. And Avery's going to be part of the 1%. She's going to be one of the, part of the wealthy enclaves and kind of delve into what that world looks like and then why she goes back in time. That's as far as I've gotten.
Does it get easier? Because now you can just go, look, I've got these people I can pull from, haven't really explored them. Bam, I'll write about them. Cool, another book.
No, because I want to make it. Well, no, I want Avery to be herself. She has to be her own person. She's got to start talking to me. I need to have, she's got to have a love interest and an adventure. I mean, it's all different. So I'm not. And you can, there's people like Bella Andre who's got her Sullivan series where she is just plugging, it's same old, which just works for her. But, it's like, oh, here we go. Two people fall in love. Families don't like it. What do? She really can crank them out. So yes, you absolutely can do that with a series. But I think like for myself, and I think Beth, you're part of that team too. You want to make something that's original and that's different and not just the same old.
Yeah, and I know that Bella, she takes a good 6 months to crank those out, so it's not automatic.
Yeah,
she's
okay.
just doing it
She
full
did
time.
Like one once a month or something like that. Is that not right?
I think she had them warehoused. She might have released them once a month, but I know because I know her. It takes her whole per book. It might take 6 months. So, but maybe she had a backlog of content that she was able to release quicker.
Just go through,
good.
find
I feel better
and
about Bella that she's spending 6 months like that. I can see.
Yeah, and she also writes fast, but she has a lot of. It takes her time to do all of that.
Yeah, good.
I don't know. I had a question, but I forgot about it.
Okay, then.
It was to do with writing. Do you foresee that you're going to end up with like 6 books in the series or 5?
I don't know. We thought we'd have 6 episodes of Newbie Writers, so I don't know how that's going to go.
Yeah, but I don't see you writing 200 books of future something.
Don't know. Let's just see. If I got, who knows? I enjoy doing it. I'm glad. Thank you, Beth. I'm glad you liked the third one. I like doing them. It's exciting. Future Gold will be out July 1st. So that's pretty exciting. So as long as, Eternal Press will still publish them, I'll still write them. That's pretty awesome.
I'll keep plus oneing them to keep them happy. But okay, I've remembered the question now. What do you put in then? The later books, can someone just pick up any one of them?
Yes.
So that's the key, I think, isn't it? You want to be able to just go, because let's be honest, you're going to go to a bookstore and you're going to find like just one of them, and it might not be the first one.
Right, correct.
So
absolutely.
You want to be able to grab it and go, oh yeah, I'll try this one. And yeah, I don't even know how you'd go down that road without making it too much like a. You get those books where it's like one chapter, all of a sudden it's just a rehash of all the other books.
Right.
Like
Yeah. And sometimes you have to do that. That also, Janet Ivanovich's books, she does the 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready, 13, 14, 15, 20 books. And they're starting to get a little repetitive. But she, in the beginning of each of those novels, she does reiterate the background, who everybody is. And I don't know if it's because that's how she writes or because an editor says you have to put that in. And so I'm going to cut some of those authors some slack because they very well could be responding to what the editorial dictates are for their publisher.
Right. Well,
I also write series, and I've been told that I have to make sure that even though I'm writing sequentially in YA fantasy, my Henrietta the Dragon Slayer series,
right.
I still need to refresh my reader's memory, because maybe it's been 6 months or a year since they read book 2, because actually there's going to be a 3-year gap between book 2 and book 3 in terms of people holding it in their hands. So I have to make sure that it doesn't feel completely jarring, that people have a little bit of an orientation around who all the characters are and what's going on and where everything is in relation to everything else. So I have to do a little bit, it's a little repetitive. So if someone read them back to back, they're like, I know. But if a new person is going to be very appreciative that there's some context for them.
But how do you do that? Do you create a character that just comes in and says, Henrietta, do you remember when?
Oh, God.
No. No, you just kind of insert it with a little authorial voice, but it's not a narrator voice. It's actually just a tiny backstory, just orienting people. And readers like that kind of thing. It helps keep it top of mind, but it comes usually from the point of view character, whoever I'm writing from.
Yeah.
Well, so you don't have Henrietta say, "Oh, that reminds me."
Not in a long narrative. I have done that for support writers where they do that long. What do I call it? I call it the problem with science fiction, where you have a narrator say, "As you know, Jim, when we employ the flux capacitor, it will explode in 30 seconds, and it happened last year on June 13th. And you remember, and they go on and on and on and on and on, and the reader's like, oh my God, nobody talks like this." Yeah. So you do have to. I think there's a skill to it. And you're right, Beth. You have to kind of weave it in. I have to look at that, especially with this third book, to see if I'm doing that, so that someone could just pick it up and say, oh, this is cool. What the heck is this about?
Well,
yeah, and I think good beta readers, they can say, tell us more here, or remind us why so and so is doing such and such right here. Give us a little context so we can. I think I asked you some of those questions when I sent.
Good, thank you.
I sent it to you in audio. Did you get that?
I did. I have not listened to it because I'm waiting for. I like to get everybody, and I have to like be in the zone so I can listen to all of the feedback at once.
Oh, good. Good.
Let me know when your depressive month comes up, and I'll avoid sending anything.
Yeah. You're good to go. As long as you don't send it in December, you're good. So take a look and then let me have it, because you're really good about that.
But look, even fantasy is pretty stupid and obvious when it comes to that rehashing thing. I find that it always starts off with some wise man who's, the dark, brooding character, gathers his the other main characters around, and they either are at a campfire or under a tree. He says, let me tell you a story. And it's like the history of such and such. And I know that I can miss a whole chapter and go, cool, I've caught up now. Yeah,
I don't do that. I don't do that at all. And I've been sort of dinged by other fantasy readers who are like, oh, she's not a traditional fantasy writer, because I don't do that. I don't do like once upon a time kind of preview. But what I do is have little epigraphs, so little pieces of poetry or story or song or like a tale or a legend, a little snippet at the beginning of every chapter, just a little tiny bit, and just a little hint, and it gives a hint into some greater context. And I write them very intuitively in the first draft, and then in the final drafts I really get strategic about that and think deeply, and get my critique partners to say, hey, your cool little poem here had nothing to do with the chapter. You need to write something else.
Yeah, but you could never win, though, because if you did the whole sitting around a campfire, dumping out the history of the last 2 books just for the sake of it, you would have someone go, wow, that was a bit too stereotypical. And then if you don't do it, you get people going, well, she's not a traditional writer. You can't win. So don't worry.
Right. Well, that's true. So you just make it work for the book. I think knowing there's a freedom in knowing you can't win. I have to say, it's like
So may as well just do what floats your boat as the author and is clear enough to your main fans.
Right.
That's all I really need to please is my main fans, and even then, fingers crossed. If they don't like it, I can't go about changing the story. They got to write their own book if they don't like mine.
Right.
That's a good thing. Have you ever felt like responding to someone like that, going, well, if you didn't like it, write your own book?
I've had people come up to me at a con science fiction fantasy con. She's like, you should write a book about a girl witch who does such and such. I'm like, no, actually, that's your book to write. I've got mine going on.
But I don't have time. And that's when you should say, listen to the Newbie Writers podcast. They'll help you out.
There you go. That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Speaking of help.
Speaking of newbie writers, so Beth, one of the things that that you very cleverly, you and Cara Black, very cleverly have chosen to place your books in really excellent, beautiful places so that you can go there and do the research. I think that's brilliant.
Of course.
And you are putting together a writers' retreat in France this summer. Tell us about this. I was intrigued by not so much that you're doing this really cool thing, because that aside, how did you come about wanting to create this, and how are you setting this up? I was more interested in the nuts and bolts of what goes on behind the scenes for something like this.
Oh, sure. Well, let me let you know. Yeah, it's happening actually this October, from October 3rd through the 10th. So it's 7 days. It's a 7-day event, or I should say 6-day event. On this first day and the 8th day, you'll want to be traveling. So basically, I worked with a travel agent here in the United States who has partners in France who helped me find the hotel and set up some of the wonderful extra excursions that I have planned. And I basically have an agent here who helped me set up the website and is my go-between for all the travel arrangements.
Okay.
So, but how did that come about? Were you sitting around and you went, you know what? I'm going to go to France. I'm going to take a whole stack of people with me.
Okay, it came about like this. I was at a writers' conference last summer at the Romance Writers of America, and I was sitting down with another writing coach. Maybe you guys know her, Paula Chafee-Scardamalia, who does wonderful work with dreams and things like that. And
very cool.
And we were just chatting. We've been friends for years, and we're both also creativity coaches. And she's like, Beth, so what's going on? I'm like, well, one of my big dreams is to take a group of writers to Paris. And she's like, you should totally do it. Here, talk to this woman, Maria. She helped me organize one of my trips. Here. And she's like, do it. She looked at me, do it, So she was my accountability buddy at the beginning. And she and I have even done sort of a series of blog posts that we each put on our own site, highlighting the perks, the benefits of travel and writing. And we're actually in the middle of writing those blog posts where we talk about the benefits of travel and writing and the inspiration that comes and how it helps us and all the different things that you can be inspired by when you travel. So she and I have been kind of buddy on this. She's been really supportive and handed Maria to me, and Maria's been my back-end support person for technical stuff. And then Maria handles everything. She handles registration. If people want to make their flight arrangements, she'll handle that. It's really awesome. So I don't have to do any, I don't know any of that, and she's handling it all. And she and I are in constant communication. And then I told her, this is what I want for my website. Here's the login. And she went in and set up like certain things that I couldn't do, like the registration page and the beginning of the itinerary page, and all the technical terms and conditions, pricing page, and all of that, and the FAQs. Yeah, so and then I enhanced it.
Are you paying her directly, or is she taking a percentage? How do you pay for that?
Yeah. So people register, they pay her. The people in France get their cut. She gets their cut, and we get our cut. This trip, yeah. So I don't have to do any front end money, and it's really awesome. And my husband also will be coming on this trip. We'll both be doing the workshops. There's 4 half-day workshops that we'll be teaching to our small group, and it is a small group, just 10 participants maximum. So is what we are aiming for.
So here's a really offensive question. You know how when you put together an event, and I'm thinking maybe of like Catherine's book launch that got rained out by like some tsunami or something, I forget what it was.
Yeah, but, really.
And no one turned up. What happens if no one turns up or registers? And you've all
you just go for the jugular. I thought this was about how wonderful this trip was and how awesome it would be to sign up.
Yeah. That's Catherine's job. I just want to know, what's your contingency plan? This is how I think.
Well, in a worst case scenario, this trip won't happen this year. It'll happen next year. There you go.
You and your husband could just go, but then that'd be a bit awkward. You'd be talking to an empty room.
We wouldn't run the retreat. We might go to Europe for other reasons, because there's a wonderful writing conference I want to go to in Italy at the end of September. So, yeah, and maybe he and I have just a private little jaunt ourselves. But the whole point is to share the wonderful city of Paris with other writers and to invite them to be inspired by this city that I love so much and have lived in twice. And
this is the other thing, right? You're not helping the situation here. When we talk about, we say to newbies, look, you hear of those authors that are jet setting around the world. They go to France. They go to romantic cities for inspiration. It's probably not going to happen. And here you are sitting going, I'll take you. You can come along. It's
You're
real.
such a downer, man.
I know.
What's the deal?
Because
don't you want to be inspired? Don't you want to find places that inspire you and help you
but
get your work done?
I'm also realistic and poor.
Well, I do. So tell me a little bit about, because I'm going to, not as a writing retreat, but I'll be in Paris very briefly this summer. And then the rest of the holiday will be in France. So tell me and our listeners a little bit about, you've been living in this wonderful city, some of the, some of the ins and outs. What are some of the special things that you are going to take your people to that you think will be particularly inspiring or that you find inspiring?
Sure. Well, number one, just being in the city, I find super inspiring. And where we have the hotel, which is right in the center of Paris, right near the famous Les Halles, where there used to be a very famous marketplace, and now it's a big, huge mall / the big museum is there, the Pompidou Museum. Yeah. And there's also a beautiful church, Saint Eustache, and art, full sculpture. And it's also the center of the city in terms of the metro. So it's got like 4 lines that cut right through it that will take you just about everywhere. Within 5 minutes, you can hop on the metro. So just being in the city is so inspiring. It's a very old city, as many people may know. I mean, it predates Romans. There was Celts there, and so just walking in the city it feels like we're walking on top of, several thousand years of history. So that right there is, in my opinion, is just awesomeness. And then we're going to have some guided tours. I have set up, and then also some group events like having dinner together and having a tour of the whole city. Some specific things are a fashion show, because I want people to get into the 5 senses. So we're going to do a designer clothing tour. We're going to do, which I think is fun. Paris is one of the world centers of fashion. It'd be fun to take a little peek into that. Another tour is a chocolate tour. There's some places in the 5th quarter, just amazing chocolate shops. Every year, France has a big chocolate shop. Yeah. So we'll get to see some of that. And then also a tour of the catacombs, which I personally actually have never been in. Can't believe it. And also I want to take people to this beautiful area outside of the city called the Island of the Impressionists. And there's a free museum there that will go there and probably see a little bit of art. And the light is just so beautiful. You start to understand that why the Impressionists painted the way they did when you see the surroundings that they painted in. And then walking. I'm going to create some specific walking tours of some areas of Paris that I love. And one of them is right along the Saint Martin Canal Saint-Martin, which beautiful little cafes and shops, and just it's where ordinary people live and work and hang out. And I think that's some of the most interesting parts of the city, not the tourist traps, not the high end things where they're just there because the tourists are there, but out of the way walks. And that's one of them. It's in the 10th and 11th quarter of Paris. And actually I used to live in that area. So that's one of the jaunts. And then also very historic and very well known is the area around Notre Dame. And then on the 5th, there's the famous Shakespeare and Company bookstore and some beautiful parks right there. And then one of the oldest churches in the city is St. Julian the Poor. And it's a beautiful round church. So these are just some areas to invite people in to feel the city. And then there's another place, there's an old wall of the city from about the Middle Ages. I'll invite people to come and touch that wall, and really be in the parts of the city that are really old.
Medieval.
And very medieval and just predates that. And that's in the 4th quarter. of Paris, which is the Jewish Quarter. It's really quaint. They've got some very interesting bistros, like in places like where they sell horse meat, for example, which is so unusual for an American audience. But so these are little pieces of Paris that are very different from American life, and that I want to share with people.
Because you're an author, you'd be a people watcher as well. Do you find
my God, totally.
when you go there and you're going to have breakfast and there is another American tourist or someone from another country, Australian would be the worst. And all of a sudden they start speaking in like offensive French English. So they're sitting there going,
okay.
It's like, can I take your order? Yeah, I'll have a croissant. Like, what? And they probably walk like, oh, American pig. Do you see that sort of thing and you sit there going, oh, really? Just because you're in France doesn't mean you have to start speaking in French.
Well, there's still a lot of people who don't speak English. So I thumbs up to any American who's going to try their hand at French and stumble over it. I mean, I was there. I was in that position once. So no, I have a lot of compassion for them.
English.
It's not easy.
Get me someone that can speak English. You'd be like an obnoxious tourist,
No, you can just, I think in any country, if you give it a shot, and I know this from personal experiences, I do it in every country I go to. I give it a shot, I try to use, their language or, say thank you or please or start a sentence. I am never right. I never have the accent right. It never comes out the way I think it should come out. And they just look at me with a lot of compassion, like, oh, no, you can stop speaking our language right now, and we will speak English to you.
And you're flicking through the dictionary, saying words to them, and then they actually admit that they can speak English, and they go, you just called me pig. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
You are a pig.
I have done worse. I have totally done worse. So there's a lot of that where they kind of shake their head and pat me on the head and say, it's okay.
And they go back.
Just stop. Just stop speaking my language.
They go out to the chef, like, spit in that food. So, yeah. I don't know. I'm not going anywhere that they don't speak English, I think.
What? That sounds marvelous. So are people going to spend like a whole afternoon sitting in a cafe with their berets on and drinking?
No, they're going walking. They're paying money to
Yeah.
exercise. That's ridiculous.
You mean having them?
Because I even
walk
know
there?
even if I spend like 7 minutes at a cafe writing something down, I'm doing that because that's, to me, the quintessential experience of Paris.
Absolutely.
Is sitting outside, watching everybody go by, and being able to just scribble something. It's wonderful.
Can I pay
Yeah,
$500 extra to have a gopher on those electric wheelchairs?
There you go. Of course. You can do whatever you want, Damien.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's the thing. In the mornings, we'll have the workshop. So for 4 out of the 6 days that people are actually at the hotel, we'll have morning workshops. Ezra and I will do a little roundtable presentation and give people their assignments. And it's specifically around planning their novels. So you can use it to start a new novel or find a book that you have going on. And then it's free time. Some days we have lunch together. Other days you're totally on your own, and that's what we'll have. We'll have some people around who can give you advice on where to go, or you can use one of the guides that I'm going to share, the little walking guides, and just explore the city. I mean, it's incredible. And there's so much to do. Oh, one of the awesome things we're also going to give you is a Metro Pass. So for a 5-day Metro Pass, you can go anywhere you want within the city, and it's a huge city. Let me tell you, it's a really big city, and lots to do. You could go to museums. Of course, there's brilliant, beautiful, world famous museums. You could go to the Eiffel Tower. You could just walk around. There are some really interesting little boutique museums. Like I love going to the Museum of Paris. It's actually about Paris history. There's a key museum.
What?
Yeah, you can go and look at all kinds of keys and locks from like the Middle Ages beyond. It's really,
that's as bad as people who collect spoons.
Exactly. Yes.
There's probably a spoon museum too.
Oh,
Yeah, probably. I love that stuff. And actually I have a whole story about their archaeology of Paris that I'm working on. So I'm super into I'm into the artifacts of the city and the artifacts of daily life. I think those kind of things are are really interesting.
Mm.
Gosh, whatever your heart desires, there's all kinds of things from the modern, you can go shopping. Oh my God, right? Totally. For people who love to shop as an activity. Eating. Going to a supermarket in France is a cultural experience. I mean, they have a whole row of chocolate. I'm not just like a little segment or section, but I mean like literally like a whole row that's like 50 feet long for chocolate.
Oh my God, it's like wine, buying wine here.
Right.
See,
yeah.
I'm sensing that Beth actually really wants to just go there to buy heaps of chocolate because this itinerary seems to be very chocolate orientated.
That's right. It's all about the chocolate.
Yes.
You found me out. Oh no.
And then you probably request on the plane that they play Chocolat, that Johnny Depp. Was it Johnny Depp? That movie?
Right. Right. Yeah. Okay.
No.
Exactly. Yes. I'll have to put together a soundtrack now.
Oh, Jesus. But the catacombs, I reckon, would be pretty cool. I've seen them on documentaries. They're pretty morbid, all the skulls.
Are they look kind of spooky. Are they spooky?
I think so. I don't know. I've never been there. But yes.
Well, when they have the don't they have all of the they've got all of the skulls piled up, and they divide them up into, you got a pile of skulls, and then you have a pile of femurs, and then you have a pile of leg, thigh bones. That's very interesting the way they're sorted. It's a little different.
Yeah, fascinating. And just I also wrote a story about the tunnels under the metro, and I love the metro. And so I figure it's time for me to go actually down into those tunnels and, see what the real tunnels look like.
See if you got it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just see. Very cool. So what are you going to be working on yourself when you're on this trip?
I will be working on.
Oh, I got it.
I'm looking at my calendar because I'll be either prepping a romance novella or I'm not sure, or I might be working on the next Henrietta. I don't even know.
Can it please be Henrietta the Chocolatier?
You've just been bursting out and wanting to say that. Yes, just for you, Damien.
Thank you.
It will. Yes.
Cool.
Just for you.
That gets my seal of approval. Wow, what an amazing thing.
The subtitle. How chocolate saved her.
Yeah, she conquers an outpost purely because they make chocolate.
Right. Well, I'm going to have to create that in my world because I don't think there is any chocolate or coffee in my fantasy world.
She discovers this thing, this black stuff or this brown stuff that is like mud, and then they make her eat it. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Who makes this? Like such and such a town. I shall conquer them.
Right.
Well, isn't chocolate from like Turkey anyway? So I mean, they have to be trading for that before it comes into France and England.
Well, I thought the chocolate bean originated in South America. What do I know?
Oh no! You could be right. I could be wrong. Because they had, is it New World?
Yeah, I think it's a New World. The Aztecs.
Yeah, because they were drinking it like straight up because it was
good.
They didn't put sugar in it yet. Oh, you're right. So you couldn't be able to forget it. Henrietta can't have any chocolate.
Right.
Well, I could do whatever I want. It's a made up fantasy world.
It's not like she's going to get slammed for it anyway because it's not traditional.
It is. Somehow make it over to medieval.
That's right.
That'll work.
So here, actually, when I was in Paris last time, I did go to the Chocolate Museum.
Right.
So there you go. It's in the 10th quarter, and I walked through that whole museum. Yes, it was free. And I made a point to go to the Chocolate Museum.
That's where I would go. But I would also think it'd be very empty because of just like, chocolate doesn't really keep. And you'd want to eat it.
There wasn't any chocolate.
Like
there was
molds and things. Because I went to the Chocolate Museum in Cologne twice, maybe 3 times, for the samples.
Right.
Of course, the samples. It's all about the samples. Yeah.
This is why America and Australia are so fat. But anyway.
No, dark chocolate.
It has to be fat. It's medicinal. Chocolate is like magical. Come on.
That's right. It's totally medicinal, and dark chocolate's good for you. And the French totally are way up on how good it is for them.
Yeah, I'll have to remember that. I'll have to make sure that I snap up some chocolate. I'm also definitely going to indulge in pastries because they do the best.
Oh my goodness. Yes. We'll have to do a pastry hop. When I lived there, I had to test the eclairs like at every patisserie and boulangerie that, I came across.
Yep.
Did you have a baguette fight? Sort of.
Oh, that's required when you go to France. You have to have a baguette fight. And then you have to have triple cream, cheese. Brie, thank you.
And
yes.
Is Ezra going to wear a beret to keep with the...
He already does.
Yeah, he always has a hat on.
I know he's got a hat on, but is there going to be a specific French hat?
I'll have to get him a specific French hat and one that fits him because he's 6'3", he's a big guy. Yeah, I have to find a hat just for him.
You covered that well without just cutting to the chase and saying he's got a big head.
For some reason, I felt I had to be diplomatic.
You're being very diplomatic.
I can't believe you said it had a big head on their show. I can't help it. It is big. No.
Yeah. So Paris. Isn't Paris a wonderful place? I mean, who doesn't want to go?
That's right.
Well, yes. I did some personality test.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Well, Sharon sent it to me. And it came back that, her personality is very much, she likes the structure and itineraries and stuff like that. And my personality is, don't give me a schedule whatsoever. And we were talking about this last night because we want to try and go away at some point to a holiday or do whatever. And I said to her, my idea of a holiday is to pick a place and just go there and go, okay, the next morning, what are we doing today? And she's like, that would piss me off because she likes to think, well, hang on, there's these following things that we can do. We need to, she goes, what happens if there was an event on and we had to book for it and then you get there and go, oh, we should do that. Oh, we can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the most challenging things. We're traveling as a couple. Ezra and I totally had that experience when we went to Paris the first time, and he actually proposed to me in Paris. And I wanted to sleep till 11, and he wanted to get up and run around a museum. And so he did that, and then I got to sleep in. And then we met up in the afternoon, and we found something that we both like to do. And then the evenings, I was more of a night person. I wanted to play in the city at night. That's what I experienced when I lived there before. So then we would find something we both like to do for the afternoon and evening. And it worked out. He got to do his museum run around thing. And because I'm someone who goes to a museum and I like to look at 4 paintings, where he likes to go and see his about 50, So
that's what I would do.
So we just learned. And so that's why I have the program for the Paris writing retreat set up in lots of ways, with some structured time and lots of free time. Lots and lots of free time. And then some structured time with the tours, and then some choices within that as well.
Well, it did baffle my wife when I said, if there was something that you had to book for and we couldn't do it, I just shrug and say, well, it wasn't meant to be.
There you go.
Well, I can tell you, because we had that experience where we had a surprise weekend layover in Chicago on our way back from Amsterdam. Not anything we planned at all, and had no luggage. So that was interesting. So we had a day in a city. What do you do? So the first thing you do is you go on Facebook and you ask your friends, what do we do? Chicago. And we got a couple of options. They said, go take the architectural tour, go take the riverboat tour. And so we looked at, if you've done a lot of traveling, then you can look at a map and we say, okay, we have this limited time. Here's where we're starting on this one thing that we know we're going to do. What is within reason around that? So we went to around that same area as the tour. I got to go to the Art Institute of Chicago, which I've always wanted to see. Andrew has not always wanted to see it, so he took a picture of himself by a fountain, because that's what he does now, going to a museum. And I would have loved to have taken to the Tech Museum, but it would have been a trip to get there, and we didn't have the time. So you make those, like you said, Beth, you make those decisions and you say, okay, here it is. But you definitely can drop yourself into a foreign city or a new city and say, all right, we've got this limited time. What are we going to do? And we managed just fine. We had a really lovely day.
That sounds wonderful.
But you
totally can do it, but you have to be really ready to do it. And some people have to be over her jet lag so that she just not so cranky.
Yes.
But jet lag is tough.
I think you didn't also have a 5-year-old trailing behind.
See, that's a whole nother gig. The children are a whole nother gig, and you have to realign. You have to do more planning with kids. I think that's absolutely. I'm on Sharon's side on that. It's very hard to be spontaneous with kids.
I know it's a pain.
Yeah, but they learn, and there you go. So, do you want to do a word of the week now that we're done talking about how not to travel with children?
Well, just quickly, where can people go to sign up for this, or is it already full, or is there a few spots left?
Oh no, there's absolutely spots left. They can go to Paris, which is the city of Paris. So Paris and then my name, Beth Barany, and that's BETHBARANY.com. And they can check out all the details, the itinerary, pretty pictures of Paris, all kinds of fun things, itinerary, price, registration, all of the good stuff about us, about Ezra and I. And absolutely, if people are all curious about seeing if this is a good fit for them, they can have an appointment with me and we can talk about it. Totally open to having that conversation.
Look, it's a good idea. I think if someone is keen to, have a holiday, go away, good excuse to, and you guys organise everything for that person anyway. So
absolutely.
Even Zeus wants to go, and I'm quite happy if he does. So.
Okay, Zeus, you can come along.
Was that Zeus barking? I think it was.
Zeus is, Andrew just came home, so Zeus has to say hi. And it's not a show if Zeus doesn't bark or jingle, so we know that.
Of course. That's right.
Anyway, word of the week. Let's do a word of the week. And that's not Zeus.
No, it's not Zeus.
Wordsmith.org. Oh, right. Expurgate.
Yeah, I think it's expurgate.
Sounds like
and
something.
It's not what I'm doing with the sore throat, I swear.
Right. I was going to say, expurgate. To remove parts considered objectionable, like your appendix.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you use it in terms of medical procedures.
Right. We're going to expurgate your appendix.
Well, I like this definition I see here that says to remove matter thought to be objectionable or unsuitable, like from a book, like the expurgated Arabian Nights. Yes. I don't want anyone to expurgate my books.
No. And so then, if I get removed from this show, Catherine can say we expurgated Damien from this show.
Well, at least I'll have a word that will
this
sound
is true.
Really, really upscale.
I got myself a mixing console and I'm doing it myself. Now.
No, I will never do it myself.
Let's do a tortured sentence.
Next time, don't put the wrong faces on the right slab. Tortured sentences.
So that'll be one of the lectures that Beth and Ezra are going to do in the catacombs.
There you go. That's the catacombs.
Yeah, that'll be a tortured lecture.
Yeah. Way to freak people out.
Turn all the lights off.
I wonder if there's a tour where you go down there and they're like, right, now we're going to turn the lights off.
Oh, they do that kind of stuff all the time. I used to do. I did some cave exploration, cave tours in the Black Hills of South Dakota, and they would definitely do that. They get you down like in Wind Cave, and you've got tons and tons of dirt over you, get you in the middle of the earth, and flip off the lights.
My goodness!
Oh, that's really spooky. Dark underground.
See, we went to the Narracourt caves here, and they've got like a bat cave and all this sort of stuff where you got cameras with all the bats in there. And then there was a section you could sign up to do a cave exploration thing. You get suited up, with a little helmet and goggles and stuff. And you can you get into places where it's like the width of your body only and you're sort of sliding in there. And Sharon says to me, you'd love to do something like that. To which I said to her, yeah, but that looks like my work day. So why would I'm on holiday.
There you go.
Maybe squeezing yourself into small places on purpose isn't exactly your idea of a good time.
No, which my yes, casual/apprentice found out on Thursday. I said, you need to get up in there. He goes, what? No one can fit in there. I said, well, you better start trying.
Now, is he smaller? Because, I mean, sometimes you need to have apprentices who are tiny so that they can go into those small places.
He's skinny, and he
that helps.
He got up there. He was a bit hesitant at first, and then I sort of went, all right, leave you to it, and I just wandered off. So, yeah. He's ringing me going, where are you? Oh, I'm in the other room. You'll be fine. Anyway, this tortured sentence came from Courtney Killian. She got sent an email, which, look, it was a comment on her blog, and it was marked as spam. I get these occasionally as well, and it's quite funny, but so it just says, I do not be intimate whether it's fair me or if everyone else experiencing issues with your land site. It appears equal about of the textbook on your posts are running game cancelled the screen out. Toilet mortal else please remark and countenance me. Have sex if this is of current to them as substantially.
Spam, and spam.
Congratulations.
That's spam. That's not like real language.
No.
I had a phone call from a Sydney number because normally I get spam phone calls on my mobile because my number's on my business website, and they're often from Detroit. I don't know why. Does Detroit have a lot of spam people? But
no, I don't. Not by reputation. No,
not that I know of.
Right. No. Oh, so I looked the number up, and it always takes me back to Detroit. That's strange. Anyway,
that was strange.
I got this phone call, and the guy had a very thick accent, and he says, I'd like to get you onto the first page of Google.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I said, right. He goes, we use the Google. I said, that's nice. I use the Google a lot. And I strung him along for ages. And he was saying, you have a website, so that means you want to be on the Google. I said, well, no, I had a website because it was free with my domain. And yeah, I said to him, mate, I don't need any sort of marketing. I have enough work as it is. And he says, but you have websites, you must need customers. Why do you have a website then? I said, that's a very good question. I should delete that. And then he says, why would you want to delete it? I said, to stop people like you calling me, and then hung up on him. Like, yeah. And so, yeah, my apprentice is looking at me going, who are you being so rude to? I don't know, some guy in Sydney.
Some guy. We have a rash of people who are calling to get your personal information, and they're pretending to be the IRS, and they call up and they say, we are. How do they start? It says we have a lawsuit going against the IRS has filed a lawsuit against you, and we need all of your information, and you need a lawyer. And so I strung them along for a little bit and just listened, and finally they said, so what is your address? And I said, if you're the flipping IRS, you know my address.
That's right. I got that call. I got it twice. I even recorded them the second time.
Really?
Yeah.
And it was just like, A, you know my address, and B, usually the IRS sends a letter because they are way understaffed and can't afford to call. But thanks anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I had to call a tech company for some support with the product. And I was a bit surprised. I've heard this once before, a lady that was on the radio. It's an American lady, but she sounded like one of those voice teleprompter things. It was a real person. She had a name, everything, and I could ask just a random, how's your day sort of stuff. But yeah, she had the voice that was very staccato. Like, wow.
Oh, interesting.
Imagine going out with that.
Wow.
You're on your first date. She's like, I'll have the garlic bread, thank you.
Well, that'll be the last date.
Oh, she's such a talker. Anyway. Prompt. Let's do a prompt.
So here's the prompt for this week. So what's the worst that can happen?
Death.
If you write a sentence, what's the worst that can happen? If you finish a novel, what's the worst that can happen? If you publish that novel, what's the worst that can happen? write up your gloomy predictions on what is the very worst that can happen.
So
that's a great prompt.
It is.
Thanks.
And did you speak to my therapist? Look, we've all been to therapy before. I went to one years and years ago, and she asked me those same questions. It was very strange, but it does make you think.
I'm asking him for you for free, so you get a bargain with this.
Awesome.
That's right.
Yeah. No, she would say things like, she'd say to you, well, what's the worst that can happen if you would, go out or do this or that? And you would give a response and say, okay, but then if you did that, what would be the worst that could happen? Until it got so out of hand, you'd be like, well, if I went to the letterbox, I could die.
That's right.
And then
It's true.
And then she wouldn't let up. She'd go, but then what would be the worst that would happen? Well, I don't know. I'd be dead. And yeah, you can then work it back. So it's a very interesting thing. It's a very simple question. It's the worst thing that could happen.
And then you, because it is a technique, and then you take that and you like just as your therapist did, you escalate it way out of control, where you're being, eaten by dinosaurs before you can post your letter.
Yeah.
And then you finally get to the point where you say, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It won't get that worse. So now what? And then you have to actually face what the real issue is. But it is fun to escalate it out.
Yeah. So if you publish the latest novel, what's the worst that can happen? Well,
see, nobody buys it. That's the worst that could happen.
And so then you say, well, what's wrong with that then? It's like, you've still got a book.
Still have a book, still on my shelf, still makes me real. So you have to kind of walk through that and say, well, how bad could it be? And does that necessarily, and this is very true for writers, does that necessarily affect your basic happiness? Are you happy writing, or are you happy having a book on the shelf, or are you happy being super popular? Because frankly, people who are super popular will tell you not all it's cracked up to be.
No, I struggle with it all the time. No. When you got weirdos ringing you.
You're still just eating chocolate. That's what it comes down to.
That's right.
No, that's a good prompt. You've outdone yourself this week, and rightly so, seeing as you missed last week. It's fine.
Yeah, I try to make up for it from last week.
So
Beth,
I'm glad you're.
Shout outs. Who do you want to acknowledge?
Oh gosh, what kind of shout outs? There's so many good
Anyone
shout outs.
you want. You know the format. We don't have one.
Yeah, and you can't.
Oh, that's right.
Can't shout out Ezra. You've already insulted him by saying he's got a big head.
I can't shout out to Ezra, and the fact that he has his second thriller out called 36 Righteous.
Oh, well, that's allowed. That's fine.
Okay. Oh, good. Gosh, well, I'm just going to be in the family here, and I'm going to give a shout out to Catherine's latest book, Future something. Future, what is it? Future Run, but no, the one that's out right now, isn't it? Future Girl.
Future Girls is out.
Future Girls, yeah, that's awesome. And you wrote a great post for my writing blog for Writers Fun Zone about how to write science fiction, which I thought super instructive.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then I'm going to give a shout out to Damien.
No.
Whose last name was very hard to find on the website, but I finally found it. For running Newbie. I keep wanting to call it Newbie Authors, but it's Newbie Writers. Yeah. Newbie Writers Podcast.
Maybe I should buy Newbie Authors.
Yeah, I think you should. And then one more shout out. Gosh, all I can think about is the tulips that were in our in the cemetery down the street here, in the oldest cemetery of Oakland called Mountain View Cemetery. They're just so beautiful and multicolored, and so whatever. Shout out to spring. How about that?
Shout out to spring, to the tulips.
Here,
yeah,
that's right. In the northern hemisphere. I know you got the fall going on, right?
Yes.
Damien?
And it's getting cold. It was raining all yesterday. It was only 19 degrees. It's pretty dismal. But so be it. Oh, I thought you were going to say, I'd like to shout out to the tulips. They didn't taste like chocolate. But
but they could.
Yes.
They could. They had chocolate tulips in Amsterdam. They could.
Yeah.
I want to encourage everyone to sign up to Beth's newsletter, because I don't know, the way you've structured it, it personalizes it. I know that it's almost like a generic newsletter because you're not personally editing everyone, but it's often good to see you get an email, hey Damien, don't forget blah blah. Oh, What's Beth sending me? Oh, the newsletter. It makes you open it. Yes.
Yes, I'm writing to each and every one of you. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
do that. Makes you feel warm and fuzzy. And then
Yes. Fuzzy. And you can sign up for that at my website, bethbarany.com.
Yes.
And you also get my little free 5-day writer's motivation mini course.
Now, Catherine, social media and you don't get along very well. Did you get my little happy birthday message?
I did.
At least it went through. I just
Thank you.
I never know which one to send it to, but that's fine.
Happy birthday, Catherine. That was
Thank you.
last week?
It was on Tuesday, and I went to the doctor. That was very exciting for me.
Oh. Well, happy birthday anyway. Belatedly.
Yeah.
No, I get a birthday. My birthday gift is Andrew is being marvelous, and I am going to New York in May with a friend of mine.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm doing New York for a week.
Oh, that sounds fabulous.
Yeah, it should be very fun. So that's my birthday gift, kind of delayed. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Oh, how the
That's
other
great.
half live.
Yeah, we'll see
So
if we can do a podcast from New York. So we'll figure that out when we get closer.
I'll be going to New York too. I'll be going there in July for the Romance Writers of America conference.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Because I'll just be finishing up in France in July and flying back, I think, on the 5th. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and then we're going to have Guido polish the Rolls Royce out the front. And the gardener. We sacked the gardener.
Rolls Royce. We spent it all on traveling. You have to understand how this works.
Jeez.
That's right. I mean, all my extra money goes to travel. I save for years and years. I'm always saving for travel. That's the one thing I'm always saving for.
Yeah, we have friendly cars because we're traveling.
See, all of my extra money goes to silly things like Netflix. We've got Netflix here in Australia, and I've just lost 2 weeks.
Uh-oh.
We also have a small child, and all of that goes to the small child.
Yes, and I will say this for anyone that is a new parent out there. This is old hat to existing parents, but we've discovered headphones are an amazing thing.
Yep.
For me, no, for him.
For the boy.
Yeah. It was very funny. Sharon had to yell at him a bit. He had the headphones on, plugged into an old iPhone, watching YouTube or something, and he's yelling at my wife, "Can I have a drink?" And she says, "Julian, you don't need to yell." And he goes, "Yes, but I can't hear you, so you can't hear me." She goes, "Take the bloody headphones off." It took him
It'll take him a minute, but he'll get it.
Not really. He took the headphones off before. He was sitting right next to me, and he's yelling at me. I'm like, "Keep it quiet." He goes, "I'm using my quiet voice."
Well, I don't know if you guys heard, but my cat Leo jumped on my lap, and so he meowed and is purring loudly and wants my undivided attention. So I was wondering, you know how it is.
Well, I have to. We're taking off to go hit the road, so I've got to go too. Next week we have Luke Matthews on as our guest.
Yes, that'll be cool.
That'll be cool.
Cool.
And Beth, you were a fabulous guest as always, but that always makes me happy because you always cooperate. So thank you.
Oh, I'm glad I was a cooperative guest. You only bribed me with chocolate, right? Right, Damien?
Right.
I'm gonna have to go get some of that now. All right. Get some chocolate for breakfast.
Thank you so much for having me on. I can't wait to share the show with everyone.
All right. Well, until next week. We'll see you then.
Okay.
See you then.
Your book starts here on the Newbie Writers Podcast.